Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we're going to be looking at ILNP's first collection of the year called Something Sweet. So this is actually their first spring collection as well. They usually put out 2 collections per season, and this first one features a bright lineup of crelly bases with either matching or contrasting metallic flakies, and they are super adorable. So let's just get into the swatches. The first polish is Strawberry Shake, a beautifully blended pastel pink with red metallic flakes. So the formula on this one was really nice. Even though these are all on the crelly side, I found that this one was a little bit more opaque than some of the others, maybe because the base is a little bit darker, but it self-levels really nicely as well. So here on the first coat, you can see I got pretty even coverage. Definitely not a one-coater by any means, but there's very minimal light spots and you got a good distribution of the flakies. So I got this fully opaque for me on 2 coats, and I just really love this one. Even though I have mentioned before that I usually am not a fan of cool toned or bubblegum pinks on me, there's something about this one that just is so adorable, maybe because of the red flakies, and it just really looks like a strawberry shake. I just think it's so cute and I really love this one. The next shade is Milk Tea, a creamy pastel peach with copper metallic flakes. So this one had a very similar formula to the last polish, where it was very much on the crelly side, but because it is a little bit lighter, you can see a few more of those light spots here and there. Though I do tend to do slightly heavier handed coats, so I got pretty good coverage here on the first coat. Again, I think these all self-level really nicely, but if you prefer doing thinner coats, then you might need a third. Either way, formula aside, the color of this one is so bright and cheery. I really adore these types of pastel peachy kind of shades, and I don't have a lot in my collection either because I find that they're just very hard to get right. Like usually they're very white leaning and chalky and just not as flattering, but there's such a beautiful brightness to this shade and just all the colors in this collection as well that really makes them a little bit more than just a normal spring pastel launch. I just love how bright these are. The next shade is Lemon Cake, a deliciously sweet pastel lemon-based crelly with pink metallic flakes. So even though this one is described as a pastel lemon, which I would think of as a yellow, I feel like this leans a little bit green, especially compared to the website photos. So I would call this more of a pastel chartreuse, maybe? So I'm not sure how I feel about that because I normally don't like green leaning yellows or yellow leaning greens, and I think I would prefer a more true pastel yellow, but at the same time I really appreciate how unique this is compared to the very whitened yellow pastels that we see for spring, if that makes sense. So I'm still kind of on the fence about this one, but I do think it is really cute. And I did get it fully opaque for me in 2 coats, but because this is the lightest shade, I could see most people probably needing 3 coats, especially if you do thinner coats. So you'll have to let me know what you think of this shade and if you would consider it a pastel yellow. The next polish we have is Mint Chip, a soft and sweet mint nail polish with metallic black flakes. So I honestly thought that the flakes in this one were matte because I didn't see any of that kind of reflective shine coming off of them the way I saw it in some of the other polishes. So I'm not sure if it's an inaccurate website description or maybe the crelly base just kind of covered up the flakies too much so you didn't see the shine. Either way, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but I just figured I'd let you know what I saw compared to how it's described. But the formula was amazing like the others, so there's no complaints there. I got it fully opaque in just 2 coats, but you know, again, you might need a third. The only other thing I will say about the color though is that I feel like the website photos make this look a little bit more pastel than it is. It just reads very bright to me, so maybe I would recommend checking out some more photos for comparisons, but either way, this one is still my favorite from the collection because I just love mint chip. Next up, we have Lolly, a playful pastel lavender with matching purple metallic flakes. So I absolutely adored this one because I just love these shades of purple for the spring. I think they're just so bright and beautiful. And this one, even though it is described as a pastel, I feel like there's still such a gorgeous brightness to this. So it's not grayed out, it's not too dull or dusty looking, which I know some people hate when it comes to spring shades. So I'm just so excited about these. Formula wise, as you saw on the first coat, I did do a bit of a thinner coat, but I still got it fully opaque on the second one. The only thing that I did notice slightly different is that I didn't find the flakes to be as plentiful in this polish. For whatever reason, they just kind of seemed a little sparse, but I still absolutely love this otherwise. And rounding out the collection, we have Sugar High, a milky white crelly base with an assortment of metallic flakes in pink, yellow, copper, green, and purple. So I absolutely adored this one. I think it just reminds me of sprinkles on frosting, and so it's just the perfect name for the perfect time of year. I just love that the metallic flakes match the other colors from this collection because it just makes it feel so cohesive and really pulls everything together. So I'm a huge fan of this one, and the formula was amazing as well, where even though it is a white crelly, I found it opaque enough for me in 2 coats. I could see some people needing a third for this one because it is white, so you might have some more bald spots, but I really like how milky it feels, especially with how soft the layering makes those metallic flakes look. And here's a little Skittle that I did using all of the shades except for Sugar High. And I don't know if you could tell, but it's kind of drizzling in the background, so unfortunately I don't have a nice sunny clip for you, but even in overcast weather, you can see just how bright these are. So I really love that, and this is 2 coats on all of them except for Lemon Cake, which needed a third, but yeah, absolutely adorable. Now moving on to comparisons, I wanted to show ILNP's Confetti next to Sugar High because it's a rainbow metallic flaky topper, and it's the closest thing that I have to any of these polishes, honestly. So I thought maybe if I layered confetti over white, it would kind of give a similar look, but obviously I'm using an opaque white, and you can see just how stark it is compared to the milky crelly white of Sugar High, and how much brighter and vibrant the rainbow flakies are in Confetti compared to Sugar High. So I thought layering a white crelly like Cirque Linen over Confetti might soften them up, and it definitely does. So I think if you do have a white crelly base and ILNP's Confetti already in your collection, then you wouldn't really need Sugar High, but I think both are super cute. Here's Sunday next to Strawberry Shake. It's definitely a much more pastel pink, so similar but not the same. The same can be said for Heather when compared to Lolly, where it's more of that dusty pastel purple, so it's just not as bright as Lolly. And Dewdrop is a lot lighter, more of a pastel green with greenish aqua flakes. So that wraps up my swatches for ILNP's Something Sweet collection. So this collection is actually going to be available starting on Friday, March 3rd for a discounted pre-order, I think at $54 instead of $60. But even if you get these at full price, they only come out to being $10 a piece, which is really great in comparison to a lot of other indie or boutique brands. But I'm definitely curious to know what your thoughts are on this release, because Admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of ILNP's speckled polishes. I just much prefer the speckled effect from Cirque's speckled polishes. I just find that they're a lot smaller and finer, and there's just more of them, so it just gives me like speckled. And these, I think, just, you know, kind of read as like a general flaky, crelly, so to speak. But as far as this collection goes, this is definitely my favorite speckled collection from ILNP, because I had picked up a couple from the Hatched collection a few years ago, but I didn't end up wearing them because I just didn't end up liking them as much as I thought that I would. If anything, Heather was really pretty, but I think I just enjoy these so much more because they are brighter. Like, they are just not your typical dusty spring colors. So with how bright these are, like, look at how fun this is. Isn't that so cute? It just makes me so happy. And I just really love that about this collection specifically. And even the white Crelly having all of those metallic flakies that match these other shades, it's just so perfectly cohesive. So I'm a big fan of this collection, even though I'm not crazy about this particular finish, because the formulas were amazing as well. Generally 2 to 3 coaters. When I did my Skittle, they were all 2 coaters except for the yellow, which, you know, isn't surprising because it was the lightest one. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to know what you think, so let me know down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.